Debate is always good. Let's chat about it. Let's start.
Ngiyanibingelela futhi emakhaya if you've just tuned in. Well, you're in the chat room right here on SABC1. Is there anything wrong with porn? That's the question esibuzayo namhlanje on the chat room, because before the break, sin introducer to Isaac, who says there's very little local porn content and he wants to fill in the gap, even though society tends to deem it immoral. So joining us to tackle this issue in studio namhlanje, we're joined by religious representative, Pastor Langton Ndlovu. We're also joined by Abongile Mashele from the Film and Publication Board, psychologist Sister Olga Mulevadzi, as well as Chili, who has strong views on the topic. Wenagekaya, you're also a part of our guest, so we want you to join in on this discussion at the chat room, #YetuPorn. You can also communicate with us on Facebook as well as on www.thechatroom.co.za. Wonkama details are on the screen right now. Let's get chatting. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
All right.
Thank you for having
us. Why porn?
Kakhulu, most of the time, masibukela ipon. Sibukela ipon yase overseas. Like, so, like South Africa, we don't have specific videos, the porn, whereby I'm a South Africans. I want so.
Okay, fine, but as someone who's in the film industry, I mean, you could, shoot ants, record ants, produce whatever. Why porn? Is it because of the gap that you're noticing in the market?
Yeah, and I could say sometimes I don't know why they take it otherwise, but it's part of job creation.
Pastor, is there anything wrong with him wanting to produce porn and star in it?
I think one of the things that hasn't been looked at, especially when looking at porn, is the social impacts that it has, number one, in our society and in people's lives. I mean, our belief is that every human being has been created in the image of God, and our lives should actually show forth those values of God. And I think from where I sit, the production of porn and the consumption of porn actually stand against all that, and also it kills even our moral fabric even as a society.
Okay. Chili? What do you have to say to that? That porn kills the moral fiber of the country.
Now, honestly, I mean, I don't have a problem with porn. I mean, if as Oba for Ashuguti, he sees a gap in making money. So let that person be. I mean, a chance as a youth, a chance with Mali.
It's immoral.
I'm not saying it's not immoral, because if it was immoral, about being a you know, I swear, each and every way you find 99.9% about to have porn in their phone. They have a porn. So if a black person wants to empower himself into starting a company, a porn, let that person be.
So, how much porn production do you see that comes across your way that you guys have to go through as the Film and Publications Board?
Well, I can't give you the specific numbers now, but what I can say is that in terms of local productions, there's very little local productions that are coming through.
So he's really identified a gap.
It is possible that he has identified a gap. There's very little local productions that are coming through to the Film and Publication Board. And I think another important thing to highlight is that with the proliferation of content online now, the local market is not doing as greatly as it used to be, because people have access to productions at a tip of a finger, touch of a finger, through your phone. You can access the content from any country in the world if it has been placed on the internet.
Okay. Now I want to understand maybe the pros and cons, the dangers of porn, if there are any. But maybe let me bring it back to Isaac. Is there anything wrong with him wanting to start a business and amortize on the market, the gap that's in the market right now?
Business-wise, it could work, but psychologically, emotionally, for the society, socially, it's a bit of a problem.
Why?
Because what happens is it becomes an addiction. So you find that people are experiencing mental disorders, anxiety, depression, and instead of dealing with those in a healthy way, they then start to use porn as a coping mechanism, and it starts becoming addiction. Relationship suffers, you know, because then you have this man, because most men are most likely to be addicted to pornography, you know, than women, even though women still become addicted. But then you have a man who is there in a relationship who who struggles with connecting with their partner emotionally, you know.
But what about those that say porn has actually helped their relationship in spicing up the romantic part of their relationship?
Yes, in the beginning it does. In the beginning, most couples who watch porn together, you know, they have sexual activity often. In the beginning it does, but remember, like I said, men then has, you know, they get hooked, you know, to that easily. Then you have situation where a man then hides, you know, and watches that, you know, behind the woman's back, and it becomes an addiction.
Porn is not practical, Chili. It gives you results that are not practical in relationships, and you can easily get addicted. Do you agree with that?
To be honest with you, Mama, addiction sometimes is good. You know, some people use addiction in a good way. Some people are addicted to Instagram, but then they make something of Instagram. You know, if I make good addiction in porn, then I know how to, you know, how to.
Are you addicted to porn?
Well, everybody's addicted to porn.
I don't think you should use sweeping generalizations like that.
Okay, no.
Maybe everyone around you, perhaps, but you can't say everyone. Are you addicted to porn?
Mina.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not addicted to porn.
You just enjoy porn.
We all enjoy porn. I mean, you know why I say we all enjoy porn?
Why?
In a statement for this thing. Because each and every way, without porn, like, for example, we have Kamba Sutra. People watch Kamba Sutra to better their sex lives. As she says, sometimes it's good for the husband, it's good for the wife. It strengthens a relationship.
It's like a training ground for you.
There's a gap, there's a breach, you know?
Yeah.
Google porn. I mean, Mongapega, he Playboy, he have now, he's well known. Suddenly now it's a fault if Umuntosa starts it.
You are just nodding away. I'm interested to find out, like, what are you nodding to exactly?
There's this thing would see whereby the problem is most of abantu abadala they don't speak with us with such things, and they hide. You see, so I don't think if begwinto whereby bofundiswa ngayo or besifundiswa ngayo, it was not gonna be as tough as it is ukuthi ugcine so hide aside ukuthi this is not right.
Okay. Fundis,
quite strong perspectives on it. But, you know, from a biblical perspective, when you look at sex, it was created to be enjoyed in the confines of marriage by God. The person who created sex, actually, it was God. So, first of all, I'd like to say sex is good, but in a marriage context. However, when now pornography comes to the picture, it now actually removes that beauty of it, in the sense that when somebody watches porn, let's say a husband watches porn, by the time he goes and indulges in intimacy with his wife, in his mind he's still thinking of the woman he saw on TV or on screen or on internet. And the Bible says, if any man, it's Christ actually who says, if any man looks at a woman lustfully, in his heart, he has already committed adultery. And psychologists can tell you the truth that once especially a man, sees a lady on porn, by the time even he goes, has intimacy with his wife, in his mind, he's sleeping with his wife, physically sleeping with his wife, but in his mind, he's sleeping with that lady that he saw on TV. So now it puts serious pressure in marriages.
Now I want to quickly go to Sis Abongile. Why is it that we don't see pornography on TV? I know there was another channel that we had in South Africa here that used to have porn after hours, and that has since been removed. Why was that decision taken?
In terms of the law in South Africa, pornography is legal. It can be sold, it can be distributed, but the parameters within which it can be sold, it's clearly defined in legislation.
Okay.
It cannot be shown on television. So when we're talking about hardcore pornography, where there's a show of genitalia, etc., that cannot be shown on television. It can only be shown through licensing by the Film and Publication Board. Now, if you want to distribute or even create X18 material, you need to come to the Film and Publication Board to get licensed. The reason why you have to get licensed is because we need to check if children are not used in the production of your pornographic material. I think the primary purpose of our legislation is to protect the child.
And then where can they then distribute?
When you distribute it and when you sell it, it's very clearly defined. It needs to be, if you know adult shops in the country, they usually have blacked out windows. You can't see inside.
Okay.
They have burglar gates. You cannot just go in. The only time you are allowed to get in there is only if you're over the age of 18.
Okay.
So those are the clearly defined parameters within which you can distribute material. In certain municipalities, you even have bylaws. You can't have it close to a school, can't have it close to a church. There was a huge furore a couple of years ago because they opened one just in front of Parliament. So those are just some of the considerations that you have to make. But just one thing I'd like to add on this thing, that the morality, I don't really want to go into the morality.
I want you to go into the morality, but I want you to do that after the break. When I get Kaya, we also want you to share your comments with us on Twitter, #porn, and at the chat room. We'll be back after this short break.